This is Autoline Daily reporting on the global automotive industry. Chevrolet unveiled the all-new mid-engine C8 Corvette Stingray last night in a mega media extravaganza. Chevy says the previous front-engine layout had reached the pinnacle of its performance limits, hence the new mid-engine layout. While it's a radical departure from the C7, Mike Simcoe, the head of GM Design, took a moment at the reveal to talk with After Hours co-host Gary Vasilash about how his design team still made the C8 look like a Corvette.
The nice thing about it is that Tom Peters and the team in the performance studio had done not just this vehicle, but they did the previous generation and the generation before that. So you've got this inherent knowledge of what a Corvette and a Corvette Stingray should look like. So whether it's front engine as the previous generation or mid engine like we are now, there's an inherent feel of Corvette. And the surface work, the graphics, the execution was done by guys who understand what a Corvette should be and what our customers really want with a Corvette.
Let me ask you about that. I was talking to John Cafaro, who had worked on previous Corvettes, and he said that one of the things about this new car is you walk up to it and you know that it is a Corvette.
Yeah, the detail, the graphics, the detail of the lamps, the character of the surfaces. It's the level of love and the level of understanding the designers have for what a Corvette should be. So independent of the proportion of the vehicle, that's what they bring to the picture. They inherently know what a Corvette should look like and what it should feel like. And it's not just proportion, it's proportion and it's the overall exterior design. But another great win of this car is more interior space and an interior design to die for as well. That wraparound cockpit, the screen interface now, and all of the driver modes and the access the customer has to connect and drive the vehicle are fabulous.
If you'd like to watch that entire interview with Mike Simcoe, it's up right now on our YouTube channel. But let's get to some other C8 highlights. It's made from mostly aluminum, carbon fiber, and fiberglass. It will come in both left and right-hand drive. Under the boot is a 6.2-liter V8 that makes nearly 500 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. That gets mated to an 8-speed DCT, which will help return a 0 to 60 time of under 3 seconds. The mid-engine Vette goes into production late this year and will have a starting price of under $60,000. All that, and it still fits 2 golf bags. The auto industry is generally not seen as a hot place to invest your money, but Merrill Lynch identified 5 automotive stocks that have delivered eye-popping returns this year. And surprisingly, they are mostly automotive retailers. Sonic Automotive is at the top of the list. Its stock is up 67% this year. Group 1 Automotive, another retailer, is up 52%. Adient, a seating supplier, is up 38%. CarMax is up 37%, and Lithia Motors, yet another retailer, is up 32%. And by the way, these returns do not include any dividends these stocks may have paid out, so in some cases, the returns are even higher. Hybrids deliver much better fuel economy than non-hybrid cars, but one of the drawbacks is that hybrids feel kind of mushy when you drive them. They're not crisp and responsive. But maybe Hyundai is on its way to solving that with a technology it's calling active shift control. It uses a sensor inside the hybrid's electric motor to match the rotational speed of the engine with the rotational speed of the transmission. That cuts shift time by 30%. Hyundai says it not only improves acceleration, fuel economy, and durability, it's more fun to drive. Active shift control will debut on the upcoming Sonata hybrid and then will spread to other Hyundai and Kia hybrids. Passenger cars are not the only types of vehicles that are losing sales in the U.S. market. So are minivans. They're down almost 16% so far this year, which is way more than the rest of the market. Sales of the Dodge Caravan are down sharply, but it's still the best-selling minivan by far. Then there's a close grouping between the Chrysler Pacifica, Honda Odyssey, and Toyota Sienna, while the Kia Sedona pulls up the rear. The car companies that make these minivans have been hoping that as the millennial generation marries and has children, that minivan sales would make a comeback. But so far, that's not happening.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires. Your journey, our passion. DuPont. Transforming industries and improving lives through material science. And by
A little over a week after Harold Kruger stepped down as CEO of BMW, the automaker named a new leader. Oliver Zipse will take over as the chairman of the board of management, which is the equivalent of a CEO title. Zipse has been with BMW since 1991, and his background includes manufacturing and corporate planning. The price of rhodium, a key metal used in catalytic converters, is skyrocketing. Reuters reports that an ounce of rhodium cost $615 in 2016, but now it's over $3,500 an ounce, and that's up $1,000 since mid-February. Stricter environmental regulations are forcing automakers to buy more and more of the metal to help curb emissions, and automakers account for 85% of rhodium demand. Earlier this week, Toyota formed a partnership with Chinese battery maker CATL, and now it's teaming up with China's BYD to collaborate on battery electric vehicles. They will develop sedans and low-floor SUVs as well as the batteries. The vehicles will be sold under the Toyota brand and launch in China in the first half of the 2020s. But it sure is fascinating to see Toyota make such a big push into China. Earlier this decade, the company's sales plummeted after a dispute between China and Japan over some islands in the South China Sea. But now Toyota and Honda are two of the fastest growing automakers in China. And by teaming up with CATL and BYD, it appears Toyota is trying to integrate itself into the Chinese auto industry to insulate itself from any possible retaliation in the future. But that wraps up today's show. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you right back here again on Monday.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.